Final Fantasy VII originally released on the PlayStation back in 1997. So it's been 23 years since the initial release of Final Fantasy VII, and then next month on April 10th, where we will be receiving the remake. So if you didn't know, the demo for the remake just dropped a few days ago on the PlayStation Store, and I had the chance to play it. Now, Final Fantasy VII, I played it. Man, it's been so many years ago when I first played it. I didn't play it back when it came out. I played it somewhere in the mid 2000s. Well, I think I was in high school when I played it, and it's probably one of my least favorite Final Fantasies. It's not a bad game. It's not as, I don't like it as much as most people do. It's definitely the most popular Final Fantasy, but it's one of my least favorites. But yeah, but being a huge Final Fantasy fan, I still downloaded it. As soon as I heard that it was out, I went online, downloaded it, waited for it to download like the next morning, and immediately played it when I had the chance to play it. So, yeah, I was actually very impressed by this demo. Look, the graphics are amazing in the game. The lighting in this game is really good. I like the shine on Cloud's Buster Sword is incredible, man. Yeah, the combat system, initially when I first heard it, yeah, I still would rather prefer a turn-based combat system. Square believes, well, it was years ago when he said it, but it's still true today. You think for modern audiences, action is more viable, it's more palatable for the mass audiences. Like people don't really buy turn-based RPGs anymore, even though Dragon Quest XI and Persona 5 just made a lot of money anyway these past couple of years. But back to what this game is all about. So yeah, the combat system, yeah, I still enjoy it though. It's as you know, it's action based. You press square to do your melee attacks, to do your basic attacks, because not everybody has a melee weapon. And you hold it down to do like a string of combos. At least for Cloud, I don't think. Yeah, for Cloud, you just hold it down to do a string of attacks or a different attack depending on which mode he's in. And speaking of these modes, each character, well, there's only 2 you play in the demo, but I know this will apply to every character in the game, has like a special command mode that you could use. For Cloud is Punisher mode, which allows him to deal stronger attacks, but he's also a lot slower as well, and he cannot dodge roll. And speaking of dodge rolls, you press circle to do a dodge roll, and R1 to block, and blocking in this game just reduces the amount of damage you do. But the battle system has some depth to it. Like all action games, you got to worry about your distance. The thing to do with ATB in this game, unlike other Final Fantasy, it was turn-based. ATB in this game is basically like a meter for you to do special attacks. So you can't spam spells in this as long as you have the MP. Like most of the time, you have to build up a meter first, the ATB meter, which has 2 slots. So far as I can tell, I'm not sure if it will increase, but it has 2 slots, and once one of them fills up, you could use an item or a spell or an ability. Spells will still take up MP. You still got that. But I think they use it as a more strategic way, so you can't rely on abilities, spells, or items too much. So your main focus will be having to rely on blocking and dodging by reading the enemy's patterns and whatnot. I like the combat. It does feel engaging. All the attacks feel like they have weight to it, and they do a good job of making the characters feel different too. Because Barrett, once you get Barrett in the game, he's a long-range character, so he takes out enemies that Cloud cannot, like turret sentries that are out of reach, and he also has the thunder spell in the demo, so he's good at taking out the robotic enemies that's in the makeover reactor. As far as the story goes, and I see in this demo, they add a little bit of extra stuff with Shinra in it. That sounds like typical JRPG slash anime filler things. I didn't really care for it so far. The voice acting is decent, except for Barrett. I don't know, he just don't sound right to me. And a lot of video games, especially ones by Japanese developers, black characters always sound off to me, and Barrett still has that sort of stereotypical tough black guy sound to him. That, I don't know, it just feels more cartoonish and corny than the rest of the cast. I wish they could have done a little bit better with him. Everybody else is fine. I don't remember Jessie being this on the cloud like this. Like she really is trying to flirt with him. In addition, oh, you don't really hear much from Wedge in this demo. Yeah, but basically this is the same demos I heard that the original Final Fantasy VII had for Tobal #1. So it ends when the Mako reactor explodes and you're escaping. Making for a short ditto. Actually, this discussion is actually sort of out of place, so excuse me for that. But let me back up a bit. Way before that, so you fight all these enemies in reactor, you go through it, and then you eventually get to the Scorpion boss, which is the first boss of the game. Now here, the actual game gets kind of challenging. So the Scorpion boss is just like constantly doing attacks on you in this game, shooting missiles, have lasers which you have to duck behind debris to counter. It's I was actually surprised this is a little bit difficult battle. I thought at first the game was giving me a lot of potions, like, man, this demo gonna be easy, but I used up like almost all of that on the Scorpion fight. Speaking of Scorpion fight, while I did enjoy it, I felt like it went on a little bit too long. There's too many phases of the fight. And it's just the first fight, the first battle of the game. It doesn't need to be that long. I think there's like about 3 or 4 phases to the fight, which I think is just a little too much for the introductory boss of the game. So after you beat him and then leave the Mako reactor and it explodes, they added something different to it. So for whatever reason, the Shinra company makes the explosion a lot larger than it was by sending some of the robots to shoot more missiles and shit at the reactor while it's exploding, causing the huge explosion as we know it in the game. It causes, almost a whole sector to go down, and a lot of people die because of that. So I'm not sure about the reason for that, for the change of that, but whatever. But yeah, but the demo is really good. The music is good too. It's more orchestrated. Feels a little bit more like a movie soundtrack, which it's okay, but I more prefer the video gamey sound of music, like with the chip tone. You know what I'm talking about? It feels more video gamey to me. But it's still good. I just wish more video game sticks more to the classic chip tone like I adore so much. It's just more noticeable to me. It stands out more in my memory. But this demo was very, very good. I'm half tempted to buy the game on release day. It's still confirmed that it's only going to be Midgar, so the game is still going to be released in parts, which makes me a little wary of it. It said it's supposed to be the length of a full-length game, even though Midgar's in the original was maybe 5-6 hours long, something like that. So I think the pacing would be kind of weird to me. I'm not sure how they're even gonna break up the rest of the game, because Midgar was the very beginning of the game, like 5, 6, maybe 7 hours at the most. So of a 40-hour game. But we'll see. I'm still not sure. I have not played a Final Fantasy in a long ass time, so I might buy it. I think I'll end up just waiting until the second part comes in. I feel like it just seems kind of sort of necessary to me. I sort of feel like it's just a way just to milk the game, just because it has been so requested. People have been waiting for this for ever since 2005 when they released that tech demo for the PS3. But you know, once the full things come out, I will definitely get it. And those are my impressions of the demo. It's good as shit. I played it twice already. If you see footage in this video, none of it is mine. Just because I don't have a game capture card yet. But yeah. So I'll see y'all guys next time. And bye.